safer world is possible, and together we can and will make it happen. Thank you.
When you show up in community, you find that group that makes you feel like home, but oftentimes you also find yourself again.
Scale of 1 to 10, how do you think this call's gone for you?
Probably not very well. I think my point that I want to make is the difference between Harry and Prince Andrew is, I think, from how I understand it, Harry chose to leave, take his wife and family to California, like you said earlier, to protect her and to protect them and take them away. So I don't think that he's not being invited or not being included. I think he's chosen to take himself away. And then on the Prince Andrew side, I think I personally don't think he's done anything wrong. So he's not taking himself away and he's trying to push himself back in because what he thinks he has or hasn't done is very minor. So I don't think that calling him the friend of a paedophile and condemning him for being friends with a paedophile, I think it's unfair because there are so many people that have friends that have done awful things.
No, but he
that's not his
he stayed
fault.
Mates afterwards, after he'd come out of jail.
What I was saying to the lady before I spoke to you is you don't know what conversations are being had or have been had behind closed doors. You don't know what Prince Andrew said to Jeffrey Epstein behind closed doors. You don't know if they were being best friends or whether they actually went there and said, you know what, this is awful, I can't believe you've done this and all the rest of it.
No, you're right.
You don't know
you're right.
that.
No, you got me back to rights, Jack. It's perfectly possible he flew all the way to New York after his mate had got out of jail to say, gosh, I can't believe what a wrong 'un you are.
No, but
you mean all those teenage girls that were hanging around at your private island? You mean that some of them were there and they didn't want to? I had absolutely no idea, Jeffrey. Look at the embarrassment you've caused me. Shame on you and your international sex trafficking paedophile ways. You're right, Jack. It could easily have been that conversation he flew out to have.
But I think you don't know that.
I'm agreeing with you, mate. It could absolutely he could have flown all the way to New York to say all those girls that were knocking around who I asked you whether they were underage and you assured me that they weren't and they were all there entirely of their own volition. God, the embarrassment, you disgusting man. Shame on you for offering me massages with them and taking my photograph with my arms around. Shame on you, Jeffrey Epstein, for your disgusting behaviour. You're right, mate.
I think what we understand about Jeffrey Epstein is he was a master groomer, manipulator, and horrible person.
You don't know that. You don't know what conversations he had in private. He might have been a lovely guy.
No,
sorry, I'm just deploying your own logic. I'm just deploying your own logic here, Jack.
But just to go back on what you just said then, we know that's not true because we know the crimes he was convicted of and the things that we know he did.
How do we know that? How do we know that?
Because we know.
How?
We know that is fact.
Yeah, because he went to court. And faced the accusations.
But
so now,
Andrew
off the top of your head, who didn't?
Andrew never did.
Exactly. How did he avoid it?
Well, by doing what everyone else would have done in that situation.
So you, innocent of sexual assault allegations, would pay off the accuser rather than have your day in court and prove your innocence?
If I...
It's a simple question, Jack.
I wouldn't because I don't have that kind of money.
It's all right. She's going to take 50 quid, mate. Are you going to pay her off or are you going to have your day in court?
If she's going to take 50 quid for a sexual assault, then I would imagine that there's something deeper going on there than... if you're so traumatised and upset and you're willing to be paid off and not actually go through the process to get the person that you're accusing of doing something awful...
£12 million. You realise that you are essentially acting here as an apologist for someone accused of sexual assault?
No.
No, you are. That's not an opinion. That's just counting. Here's the man accused of sexual assault, and here's Jack in Bedford defending him.
I'm not defending him
totally
per
are.
se. Because
you totally are.
I just think that you can't... I think you have to...
Go on.
The court public opinion is can be... I don't know what the right word to use is, but...
You're telling me.
I don't know how to word it in a way. Judging someone...
Do you know why you can't word it?
Why is that?
Because your thoughts don't make sense.
Okay.
And your thought is, Prince Harry brought this on himself by sticking up for himself and his wife, whereas Prince Andrew is an innocent victim of circumstances conspiring against him. And that's why you can't say it in words, because if you did, you'd realise how ridiculous you are.
No, but I don't think what is being done to Harry is fair to him.
No, but he brought it on himself.
No, I don't think he brought it on. I don't.
But that's literally what you said when you rang in. That was your first point.
No. Yeah, he did
chose to leave the royal family.
Yeah, he did choose to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't think that don't think that that was a bad thing to do. I think he's done that for, like you said earlier, to protect him and his family and his wife.
As opposed to paying £12 million to keep yourself out of the dock where you're accused of multiple sexual assaults. And yet here you are siding with the latter against the former.
I don't think that is necessarily the right thing. I don't think necessarily Prince Andrew should have done. I think he should have just stood up and defended himself.
Well, that's changed in the last 30 seconds. That's changed in the last 30. You said literally 2 minutes ago he did what everybody else would have done in that situation. Scale of 1 to 10, how do you think this call's gone for you?
Probably not very well.
Well, what?
Quite high up on, well, probably 10 if 10's bad.
Pretty close to 10. I'll give you 9.5, Jack, because it's not lunchtime yet, and you might have
But I want to make it very
low
clear
blood sugar
that
levels. No, mate, you've had your fun.
No. Just in my own defence, I'm just trying to put forward for my own defence that I'm just trying to make the point of someone else.
Okay.
I'm not saying that necessarily. This is 100% my opinion, but
good. Well, next time, don't ring in with anybody else's opinion but your own. All right. Otherwise, people might get confused.
Hello and a warm welcome to Sussexful. I'm your host, Emma. And before we dive in, remember to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated on every deep dive, breakdown, and media moment we bring right here to the channel. Now, today's video is a wild one. We're taking a look at James O'Brien versus a Prince Andrew apologist on LBC. And let me tell you, this call was something else. My goodness. This caller genuinely sounded like he needed help sorting out reality from fantasy, because the way he defended Prince Andrew? Absolutely bonkers. And as always, James O'Brien handled it with surgical precision. I mean, this is why so many people love him. He breaks down flawed arguments piece by piece with calm logic and crystal clear reasoning. It's honestly genius to watch. James, quick, articulate, sharp, and always pushing for truth, once again showed exactly why he speaks for so many people who are tired of excuses and spin. And let's be clear here. When someone of Prince Andrew's stature is publicly accused of such serious wrongdoing, the standard response, if the accusation is false, is legal action for defamation. That's how these things are normally handled. A simple threat of a defamation suit usually scares off anyone making fraudulent claims. But Andrew didn't do that. Instead of fighting in court, where evidence, documents, and discovery would all come into play, he chose not to challenge it publicly and legally. And people have drawn their own conclusions from that decision. His final move was to reach a financial settlement with the accuser, something many see as an attempt to avoid the scrutiny and transparency that come with a courtroom. James O'Brien versus Prince Andrew apologist. James O'Brien's logical and articulate dismantling of the Prince Andrew apologist caller was truly masterful. By calmly and systematically dismantling the caller's baseless defenses, O'Brien demonstrated the hallmarks of a seasoned journalist and public intellectual. Rather than descending to the level of the caller's irrational arguments, O'Brien maintained his poise and used his superior reasoning skills to expose the flaws in the caller's position. This was not mere confrontation, but a masterclass in how to engage with misinformed individuals in a way that sways public opinion. O'Brien's unwavering commitment to the truth, combined with his exceptional communication abilities, made for a thoroughly compelling segment that resonated with viewers seeking clarity and accountability on this controversial issue. James O'Brien's response to the caller defending Prince Andrew is nothing short of brilliant. With impeccable reasoning and unwavering logic, he systematically breaks down the flawed arguments presented by the caller. It's clear that O'Brien speaks for the vast majority who share his stance on this issue, that the allegations against Prince Andrew cannot be dismissed or brushed aside. O'Brien articulates the simple truth that the first action a person of Andrew's stature would take when accused of a crime is to initiate legal action against the accuser, often in the form of a defamation case. The fact that Andrew chose not to pursue this course of action speaks volumes, as it suggests he likely knew the evidence would expose his guilt. Instead, O'Brien astutely points out, Andrew's only recourse was to pay for the accuser's silence. Through his eloquent and incisive response, O'Brien not only dismantles the caller's misguided position, but also gives voice to the many who share his firm conviction that Andrew's actions and conduct cannot be excused or defended. It is honestly a masterclass in clear-headed analysis and uncompromising commitment to the truth. Prince Andrew's decision not to pursue a defamation lawsuit against his accuser speaks volumes about his guilt in the matter. Typically, individuals of high social standing and wealth, like the Duke of York, would immediately file such a case as a means of discrediting any claims made against them. This tactic often forces fraudulent accusers to retract their statements, as the threat of a protracted legal battle and financial ruin is enough to make them disappear. However, Prince Andrew's unwillingness to take this route suggests that he recognized the substantive nature of the allegations and did not want to risk exposing further incriminating evidence through the discovery process of a trial. His lack of legal action, therefore, can be interpreted as an implicit acknowledgement of his culpability in the scandal. Prince Andrew's decision to remain silent and avoid any legal proceedings against his accuser was a calculated move driven by the desire to evade the consequences of his actions. By refusing to take the conventional route of filing a defamation case, the Duke of York effectively acknowledged the likelihood of incriminating evidence being uncovered during the discovery phase of a trial. His choice to pay for the accuser's silence was a last-ditch attempt to conceal the truth and avoid facing the full legal scrutiny that would have revealed his guilt. This strategy of suppressing the facts and buying off the complainant speaks volumes about Prince Andrew's priorities, prioritizing his own reputation and avoiding accountability over seeking justice through the proper legal channels. It's truly baffling to witness this caller's delusional stance in defending Prince Andrew. They are completely out of touch with the reality of the situation, stubbornly clinging to a narrative that is utterly disconnected from the truth. The caller's arguments are not grounded in facts, but rather in a bunker mentality that refuses to acknowledge the overwhelming evidence against the prince. Rather than facing the consequences of his actions, the caller would rather construct an imaginary scenario where Andrew is the victim, entirely disregarding the pain and suffering of those he has harmed. This level of denial and misguided loyalty is not only misguided, but also deeply troubling. It is a stark reminder of the power of cognitive dissonance and the lengths some will go to defend the indefensible.